Did you know that some of the scariest stories aren't fiction? They actually happened. In this video, I'll tell you 3 disturbing cases that will challenge your perception of reality. You'll see how situations that seemed ordinary turned into nightmares beyond imagination. And the scariest part, these stories could happen to anyone ever knew. What would you do if your reality suddenly transformed into a horror scene? Are you ready to face the unknown? These tales will take you to the edge of reason, showing how the line between normality and terror is thinner than you think. Stay until the end and uncover the dark secrets behind events that left a chilling mark on history. These stories are more than just tales, they're a reflection of how fragile our sense of safety can be. Once you hear them, you might never see the world the same way again. Have you ever heard of people with a dark aura? That was Patrick. He seemed ordinary but had an unsettling presence. One day, he claimed that saying his name 3 times would summon him, even if he wasn't nearby. We laughed until a group of classmates tested it. In the empty library, footsteps echoed, and Patrick appeared, pale, with a sinister smile. Now imagine being trapped with someone who plays with everyone's sanity. Once, during a group project, someone doubted his story. Patrick stayed silent, but soon books fell off a nearby shelf. A cold wind swept the room, and he whispered, "You shouldn't provoke what you don't understand." The entire room froze. Would you dare to challenge him? One detail still haunts me. A friend swore he saw Patrick in his room one night, standing in the corner. Patrick didn't live nearby. It was impossible for him to be there. Yet, the figure with glowing eyes seemed as real as the pillow under his head. How many times do unexplainable things happen, reminding us of real facts logic can't justify? What if Patrick wasn't just an odd boy, but something far deeper? Something history won't record, but that will linger in the memories of those who crossed his path. Silence listened. Did you hear that sound in the background just now? Maybe terror resides in what we choose to ignore, but never truly disappears. It began with an unexpected snowstorm. That freezing night was already dangerous, but what I experienced changed my perception of normal situations. Driving down a deserted road, we saw a car on the shoulder, doors opener, clear warning. Who leaves their car like that in a storm? Then, the faint sound of metal creaking and footsteps in the snow. As we approached, things grew stranger. The car was empty. Clothes were scattered inside, as if people had fled in haste. Then I heard a crack from the woods beside the road, a subtle sound, but enough to make my heart race. "Get back in the car, now," I whispered, and my friend obeyed, sensing the tension. That's when it appeared. A figure emerged from the dark tall, slow moving, but with an unnatural presence. We sped off just in time, but the image of that silhouette still haunts me. Later, we learned this was a common trap during snowstorms. Criminals lure drivers with abandoned vehicles, but something about that night felt otherworldly. Imagine yourself there, in the storm, snow muffling every sound, unsure if your next move will be your last. A silent pause can heighten the tension. I've never trusted scenes that seem too simple since then. Sometimes, the real facts we ignore lead us straight into danger. What or who was watching us that night? They say the scariest monsters are the ones we know. For me, that monster was my Uncle Joseph. Everyone loved him, always smiling, telling funny stories, and bonding with children. But some masks hide dark secrets. Disturbing dreams showed him with a cruel, animalistic expression. I dismissed them, but what if they were a warning? Over time, small incidents surfaced. My younger sister, usually cheerful, became unusually quiet after a weekend at his house. My father noticed Joseph's evasive behavior but ignored it, perhaps to avoid facing an uncomfortable truth. One night, while rummaging through old boxes in the attic, I found the pieces of the puzzle. The puzzle pieces chilled me to the bone. Manipulative letters and objects that weren't his, all pointing to a pattern of control and abuse. Confronting him was terrifying. He denied everything, but his mask cracked, revealing something cold and cruel underneath. True terror doesn't need shadows or haunted houses. Lives among us. In the end, Joseph was removed from the family circle, but the damage he caused still echoes in every silent conversation and fearful glance. Have you ever stopped to observe the people around you? I learned to never ignore the signs. The real facts of a situation emerge if you look closely. The next monster may be closer than you think. If there's one thing these stories teach us, it's that terror doesn't always come from the unknown. Sometimes it hides in familiar faces or everyday situations. The question is, are you ready to recognize the signs before it's too late? The line between safety and danger is often thinner than we realize. Now I want to hear from you. What signs have you ignored in the past that could have changed the course of something? Is the shadow in your room just a shadow? Or is that discomfort in certain situations a warning you haven't learned to listen to? Share your experiences in the comments. Sharing stories helps disarm the unknown. If you want to keep exploring dark mysteries and learn how to protect yourself from what's out there, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Each video here is a door to real facts that few dare to open. Are you ready to continue this journey with me? Terror might be around you, or perhaps it's already inside you. Let's confront these fears together and uncover the truths hidden in the shadows. Every story is a step closer to understanding and surviving the unknown. Will you join me in exploring what most prefer to avoid?